Stand by. The vacuum tubes are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
We're continuing our conversation with local Georgia authors as we celebrate writing here in the Peach State. I wanted to bring on Sunsheray Carter, who is a children's author, and she writes books. This particular one dedicated, I believe, to your nephew, which is just great. I love a good story, and it's so hard to find stories today that are safe to read for kids. But oops, where's my teddy bear? Your first debut story, Sunsheray. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt.
How did you get into this? I'm guessing a cute nephew who wants to hear a good story is always a good reason to get into it. But how did you discover you were a writer?
So I've been writing as early as 5 years old. Writing has always been my first passion, along with reading and music. And one of my very first experiences with writing is, just reading. So one of my favorite books was Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Montgomery. And I was always that kid that my mother had to pry me away from a book because I was up in the middle of the night reading with a flashlight. so that kind of kickstart, my interest. Right. And, throughout high school and college and grad school, I've always been writing poetry and short stories. And after writing for other people, I decided to write about what inspires me and what's important to me, and family is just number one important. So I love children, I love education, so all of that combined into one just made me want to give him a legacy gift, just to show him that he's really special to me, and so that he can have something for show and tell.
I think that's awesome. Well, Sunny on the Right Path, and that's WRITE. SunnyOnTheRightPath.com is your website. If folks want to learn more about you, or if they also want to get a copy of Oops, Where's My Teddy Bear, they can do all of that at SunnyOnTheRightPath.com. How did you, this is one of those technical questions. How did you come to the Atlanta Writers Club? Because we found you through the Atlanta Writers Club. You and so many other authors and the Carrollton Writers Guild. There is a huge group of people that are discovering not only fellow writers, but also really able to kind of dive in and have critique groups and perfect the art that they love. How did you come to this?
Well, originally I'm from Connecticut, so I always knew that my writing, it was a little stagnant where I was, and I always wanted to come to Atlanta just because there's more opportunity to just connect with local authors and just have more opportunity and exposure. So I really just looked it up online and just put Atlanta Writers Club, and it popped up, and I attended a meeting, and I've been a member for about 5 years now, and I've just connected with so many different people, different genres they write for, so many opportunities. It's just ongoing learning, and I'm all about that. So
I talked to somebody the other day, and they said, I could never go to a meeting. I'd be too afraid to admit it, that I'm thinking about writing a book. How did you get over that? Was there anxiety on your side going, or was it just like, whatever, I want to go do this?
Not at all. So I had already scouted the club out like a year into me moving. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not ready to transition to it. But once I started, I was all in. So
I just picture you right now with like dark glasses on, like sitting there looking behind the shrubs. Like, all right, these people don't look crazy. I think I'll go. But, there is a lot of that you can do, because as a writer, to admit that you're writing something, then it begs the question, well, what are you working on? Well, what else are you working on? And what kind of stuff do you like to write? You have such a vast interest, right? I mean, you studied finance and marketing, but you love travel. You're a foodie. Where did you finally just sort of hone in and say, okay, well, I'm going to write about this because it's a great on-ramp. But I'm guessing that on-ramp with the teddy bear has maybe allowed you to start looking at what is next for you. So where's your stuff going?
So actually, this project, or Oops, Where's My Teddy Bear, is actually a side project. It's not part of my main writing series. So this is really just a special project, legacy gift for my nephew. And then I'm actually working back on my main series, which will be based around two girls that are best friends. And they have a lot of life experiences and they learn a lot of lessons along the way. So that's these stories are mostly related or about my life experiences and, you know, a little bit of other things as well. But
and is this young adult or is this for grown-ups?
This is for young readers. All of my books will be for young readers. So probably up to like ages 7 or 8.
Oh, wow. Okay, so really young readers.
Mm-hmm.
Kids with flashlights up in their room.
Yes.
getting hollered at by their parents. What are your parents still with us? I mean, are they connected to what you're doing today? And
yes, they're still here. They're in Connecticut, of course, but they love when I tell them about any of my stories and my books. And actually, before I got published, I debuted the book to my brother, sister-in-law, and nephew prior to the release, as well as one of my parents. And I was really nervous because I'm like, they have no clue that this is about them. And they took it really well. So I was really happy that they really liked it.
They didn't like look at you and be like, no, you're not turning this out for the public, are you?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right? Like, what do you do?
Exactly.
So sorry, Mom. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's great though. And I love that it was so, you know, warmly received. So are your friends kind of worried now that they might wind up in one of your books?
No, I don't think so. But they
they're
are
hoping.
excited to see what more I'm going to bring to the table. So
Okay. All right. So what do you do? I mean, is this full time for you, or, you know, what do you do during the day?
So by day, I work in human resources, and by night, I'm a aspiring author.
I think that's just great. And, you know, what's your message? Because, look, we reach a whole lot of people, and there are so many authors out there that are doing exactly what you're doing. Give them some hope. Give them maybe your story a little bit here on what made you sit down and actually write that first word.
For me, I'm very goal oriented. So what helped me, and it's so funny, I'll tell you the story. I'm really big on vision boards. And my first vision board was for me to transition from Connecticut down to Georgia. And every aspect of my vision board has come to life. Now, I made a second vision board when I moved to Georgia, and it was mainly around what I wanted for my writing series. And funny enough, there is a section on my vision board that has me being featured on the radio. So this is like my dream come true.
Wow. Well, I'm that's really great. I'm so honored that your first of many interviews is
Yes.
with me and on Georgia Radio. So your vision board, you don't hear a lot of folks from Connecticut saying, I'd like to move to the Deep South, down to Georgia. Walk me through this process.
So I have Georgia roots. My mother's family is from Georgia, and I spent many years of my teenage and young adult life in Atlanta. So
you already knew.
Been my second home. Yes.
Yeah, you already knew. Okay, well, I was getting kind of worried that folks were finding out about it, and I didn't. You know, we gotta just kind of keep a lid on it, because there's a lot of folks who live a lot, you know, up in Connecticut and up that way, and they say things like, how do you live there? I could never live there. You know, it's this, it's that, it's whatever. And it's like, well, you know, I just don't say much at that point, because I kind of think we got a good thing going on down here. And there's such a rich community of not only singer-songwriters, but artists, and, you know, Hollywood has figured it out. What do they call it now around here? Yollywood. So, you know, it's kind of like, that's great, but let's not be too loud about it, folks. You know, let's keep it measured. The Atlanta Writers Club, thousands of people on their mailing list, huge community of folks, whether they're an HR executive by day and a fierce writer at night. It doesn't matter. I mean, the best part is just sign up, get involved, and write that great book, because there's plenty of room, there's plenty of readers. Are you finding that the book is easier to market than you thought, or harder to market than you thought?
I feel like it's easier to market simply because, I mean, I feel like we've all had some sort of favorite toy growing up, and either we've lost it or we've kept it. And either way, you still have that story or that memory to carry with you as you get into adulthood. So,
yeah. And reading at an early age, especially this age, this is the critical age where if you can hook them now,
yes,
then they're going to start reading, all kind of stuff. And they literally will be reading with a flashlight.
Yes.
Oh,
And that's one thing I do like about the stories. It's very easy for those kids that are learning how to read. But it really impacts the parents as well. It's like, okay, wow, my child, they were asking about the character, or let's read it again, or let's start from the beginning. So I'm receiving a lot of good feedback.
I love
which
it.
is nice.
Well, I'm looking at the book right now. It's a wonderful cover, and the book is right there on your website, sunnyontheRightPath.com. That's right with a W. sunnyontheRightPath.com, and you can just go there. Will you sign the book if they buy it from you, I'm guessing?
Yes, if they buy it from me, they get it personalized along with the little gift.
Well, that's just great. I love what you're doing, and I love the story behind it, because that, to me, that's the reason we're doing these interviews, is just to encourage others. Maybe you listening right now at home thinking, today's the day. Maybe I'll write that first word. You can reach out to Sunsheray on her website. Again, Sunny on the Right Path. Buy the book, and we're coming up on summer. Got road trips. Going to be staying in a hotel room. That's kind of scary for a kid. You could read this book, put them at ease, and just have a great summer trip with a good book. What do you want to add in here at the end, Sunsheray, as we wrap things up?
My goal with my books is to just inspire other readers to find whatever they're inspired by, and just use that knowledge to impact the world, really. It's about sharing stories. We're all connected in a lot of different ways, regardless of our differences. But, when you hear a good story and it pulls you in, that's when you know you've made impact to that person. So that's what my goal with my books are.
I love it. Author Sunsheray Carter. You can find her online at sunnyontheRightPath.com. Sunny, thanks for being on the show. It's just so wonderful to hear you.
Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
Country, that's what I grew up listening to.
Georgia Radio. We love you more than peanuts and peaches. So glad you're here.